Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the current conditions. Let's just get straight into things though, and first things first, we're taking a look at our current radar imagery, and as you can see, we have a little bit going on. We have some showery activity up here in the northwest. I feel like that happens almost every single day. I don't know why this is blue, so let's just switch that color real quick. Yeah, so we have some showery activity going on up here. We have a little bit of activity up here in the northeast as well as some showery and thunderstorm activity moving across the south. So let's just zoom into some different areas here. First things first, as we take a look at the northwest here, we see that there is quite a bit of these showers. We see this just moving up just like this. And as you can see, some of these are a little bit heavier than others. We see some heavier ones in this region as well. And then we have some lighter pockets also. So just some different areas experiencing some different things, but nothing you guys aren't used to up there in the northwestern corner of the nation, of course. We do have some showers moving across the Rocky States into the plains at this point as well. And these are just moving across. Some of these are also heavier, especially in this pocket here. I'm seeing these get pretty intense. So we're watching for those showers as well. As we move further south, we see this area of pretty heavy thunderstorms. We see some isolated stuff going on up here in the north, but it's mostly this area here that's bowing out. As you can see, that could have some wind-driven severe weather associated with it. We really just see some stuff sparking up out ahead of it as well, and this is 7 a.m. we're talking about here, so this is pretty crazy. Definitely look out for some damaging wind to potentially take place with these thunderstorms here. Those are looking actually pretty intense. Now, as we work our way down into the deep south here, we can see that there is quite a bit of this activity going on down here as well. Potentially some thunderstorms, but also some typical showers going on. Lighter in the greens, obviously more moderate in the yellows and oranges, and even some reds popping up that's indicating heavier rainfall. So definitely seeing all different types of rainfall there. And then we see the showery activity here for Florida, kind of getting ready for this tropical system. This is not it yet, but this is probably just some pockets of showers kind of associated with it. We're expecting that storm to hit at some point tomorrow. We'll dive into that a little bit later on, like I mentioned, but this is actually some pretty heavy showers moving through. Not really what you want to see right ahead of very heavy rainfall that's on the way with the tropical system. You know, you don't want to be getting heavy rainfall before you see even heavier rainfall. So flooding concerns are obviously there, but Florida is used to a ton of rainfall, so hopefully everything goes well. We can see that there is some isolated activity going on here for the Mid-Atlantic. That's kind of died down though, so I do expect for this to really quiet down over the next few hours. And then for the Northeast here, we do have these showers moving across the region, mostly lighter, mostly greens and maybe yellows, but we do have some oranges, especially the further north you go, indicating potential heavier showers or maybe even thunderstorms. So keep that in mind as we move through this evening. All right, now what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to start talking about the modeled guidance and then eventually our tropical cyclone. And we're going to take a little bit of a look into some of the severe weather, but we don't expect too much of it. All right, now here we are taking a look at our upcoming storminess. Let me just skip this towards this afternoon. I always end up not doing this beforehand, but here we are. We see our tropical system's going to start impacting with some showery activity, so that is that showery activity, but really the tropical system's actually here, so it's still a ways away. It's going to be hitting around tomorrow, like I mentioned. We do have that storminess up there in the northwest. Also down here for the south central United States here, we saw that though earlier, and we're going to start to see some thunderstorm activity building in for the southeast potentially later on today. But as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, we see that the low is going to be right offshore of Florida, so this will be right when it's making actual impact. So overnight tonight, we can expect some impacts, but really that low isn't going to be overhead until tomorrow. We see the storminess persists up here for the northwest. We see also for the plains here in the upper Midwest, we see quite a bit of that showery activity going on. Jet stream is actually a bit like this by this point, so we are seeing some cooler air for the east and some warmer air up here for the northwest and really the west in general. By the time we reach Sunday afternoon, that low is going to be way offshore there of the East Coast. So we're not really going to see much impacts along the coast outside of the shoreline with some waves and some windiness. We do have some storminess up here in general for the north central and the northwestern United States there. So be on the lookout for that. It's Sunday the 5th. Monday the 6th, we see some of this storminess really begins to dive down into more of the eastern United States. So we're seeing more and more impacts here. And really, a lot of this storminess builds in for primarily the eastern United States, actually, by the time we're reaching about Tuesday, June 7th. Wednesday, June 8th here, same story. We see a lot of this storminess primarily over that region. There, even Thursday, things are quieting down a little bit, but we still see that primarily most of the storminess going on is in the eastern United States. 10th, same story here. You can kind of tell that primarily that area is seeing a lot of the activity. And even as we end the model run on the 12th, which is going to be Sunday, we see the same exact thing. So this is going to be a very persistent pattern. It looks like things flip big time. We haven't seen too much activity in the east, and quite frankly, we've seen most of the activity in the central, especially the north central, and then even the northwestern United States. We're going to see a big time shift where a lot of it is just going to be happening in the eastern half of the nation, where a lot of the storminess is going to be happening there, and things are going to dry up quite a bit for the west. So that is what we're looking for right now as we're looking at the next 10 days. Speaking of the next 10 days, let's take a look at the total precipitation through the next 10 days. And here we are taking a look at that. So this is through the next 10 days. If you're anywhere in the whites, we're expecting basically nothing. Grays will be 0.1 inches or less of precipitation. Greens will be 0.1 to 0.5 inches of precipitation. Then the blues will be 0.5 to an inch of precipitation. Yellows will be an inch to 2 inches. And then your reds will be 2 to 5 inches of precipitation, which is where we're expecting a lot. So if you're anywhere in the reds, you're expecting a lot of precipitation. But especially the browns. Look at southern Florida. 5 to 10 inches of rainfall expected. And then even the blues, we see offshore of the western coast of Florida there, the southwestern coast of Florida, south of Tampa Bay and everything. That is where we see 10 to 15 inches of rainfall. So a ton of rainfall expected over the next 10 days associated with that tropical system there for southern Florida. Now for the total snowfall, look at this, guys. That is crazy. We see a dusting, if anything, in the grays, and then 2 to 6 inches of snowfall there in the blues. Practically nothing. And I did confirm that most of this occurs over the next 5 days. So once we move past that period, it's going to show up as even less. So this is really awesome to see. Obviously, I'm already kind of excited for next fall and winter. I hate to say it. I am really excited for the summer, though, and I can't wait to enjoy it. Me and my girlfriend have actually been going to the beach a lot lately, and I didn't do that in the past few years. And that has been very, very nice, actually. So remember to get out there and enjoy it. It's been really nice lately because fall and winter will be coming soon, right around the corner. This time of year always seems to fly. So get out and enjoy it. That's my message of the day, I guess. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the upcoming temperature pattern. So here we are taking a look. I think this is going to be pretty self-explanatory from what I just saw on the precipitation map. And I'm looking at this with you guys. I haven't even looked at this ahead of time. I think it's going to really stick to the same pattern. It's not going to flip-flop too much. We see that primarily the pattern is like this. And I expect mostly this through the entire model run. So let's keep going. So by the time we're reaching about Wednesday morning time frame, next Wednesday, that's going to be the 8th, we see that we get in a little bit of a horseshoe pattern, which means primarily, for me, this is what it looks like. Trough in the central regions of the United States, primarily, and then kind of a ridge on both sides. So we see warm here and warm up the East Coast as well by midweek. And this is a fairly common pattern. We see this quite a bit. And as we move things on, we can see things shift more towards the east. So by the time we're taking a look at Friday, June 10th, this is the look. This looks a lot like our summer forecast, and I expect this pattern to set in quite a bit with just this cold air making its way, well, not cold air, okay, cooler than normal air, making its way into the eastern half of the nation. The deep south hanging on to the warm temperatures. This cold is not able to make its way that far south, really. We do see the warm air really making its way into the western United States, however, where it's just able to really establish itself there. And really, we shift a little bit towards a north and south pattern where the cold is primarily in the north, the warm is primarily in the south here by the end of it. But the east stays quite cool, and for a majority of this model run, the west stays very, very warm. So that is kind of what I was expecting, and sure enough, that is what was taking place. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at that tropical system. First things first, the satellite imagery. So here we are taking a look at that satellite imagery. And as you can see, things are really, really getting going. There's some interesting things taking place here. I think it's interesting. You know, it's obviously supposed to move up like this, but where we keep seeing this storm just really suppress itself south, where a lot of the explosiveness is on the southern end here, so it's heading further and further south, which is really interesting to see, and I can't wait to see how this plays out, but it looks like it's establishing itself too far south, which might suppress this storm quite a bit, might cause the overall track to be further south, and it might even just mess up this storm in general. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. Let's take a look at the intensity guidance. I found this really, really interesting. Now, look at this. We see that this one is nearing tropical storm status right now, basically. And a lot of these models keep it on the weaker half of things. I would say about half the models stay south of, or below this line. So not south, but actually just below this line. So they stay at a weaker tropical storm and eventually weaken out of it. But there is just a few here that get very close to Category 1 status, as you can see, which would be, see if I can't draw a straight line. Come on, there you go. Would be there. Even one makes it above, as we can see. So some get it very close, and then a majority here, it seems like, that are the more reasonable models, keep us really towards the bottom here, which for this time of year has to just be the more realistic scenario. Especially with how this storm is looking right now. It doesn't have that look of a storm that will become a Category 1 hurricane to me. But only time will really tell, and anything is possible, obviously. But that's just the look to me. Now let's take a look at what the National Hurricane Center has to say. Now here we are taking a look at the NHC, the National Hurricane Center, as you can see. And we can see that this one is a potential Tropical Cyclone 1. This one is going to be a tropical depression. Likely going to be a tropical storm for quite a while here. And this was the 4 a.m. update. So time has, we've really gone up in intensity here since then. And I really do expect this one to increase in intensity. We can see that this one is supposed to be a tropical storm by this morning. And by 1 a.m. tomorrow on Saturday, it's going to be approaching the coast of Florida, and it's going to be moving over Florida by 1 p.m. So expect a mid-morning, early morning, perhaps about 8 a.m. Strike at the west coast of Florida. And then by the afternoon hour, should be moved across the state of Florida by then. We do have a tropical storm warning there in all the blue coastlines, and then a tropical storm watch there for Cuba in the yellows popping up. So that is probably due to that suppression to the south. They're starting to realize that that could be a potential area. So we'll have to see what plays out with that. Now let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center real quick. Now here we are taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center for the day 1 categorical outlook here. We have 2 general thunderstorm risks, one really large one and then really one small one there for the northeast. But this is where we expect general thunderstorms to occur. We don't really anticipate any severe weather, but anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. We actually have 4 marginal risks as well in the darker green regions, where we expect isolated severe weather to occur, and then we have the yellow area there, where we expect scattered severe weather to occur. That's called our slight risk region here for day 1, Friday, June 3rd. For day 2 here, which is going to be Saturday, June 4th, we have 2 general thunderstorm risks again. And then we have 2 marginal risks again, one there for the central United States and then one there for Florida, associated with that tropical system, because again, Saturday is the day we expect that impact. So we expect isolated severe weather to occur here in these darker green regions. Now, for day 3, we have 1 general thunderstorm risk there in the lighter green region, where again, anything is possible. So you'd have a watch, warning, and advisory, but we really do just expect thunderstorms in general. And then a marginal risk there for Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and a little bit of Colorado as well. They're in the darker green. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, we're at a 5 out of 6. Confidence has really been going up ever since we felt more confident about the tropical system. That's the primary thing happening. The pattern looks pretty locked in, so I feel confident overall. That's why we have such a high confidence tab for today's video. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Eagle, Larry LePan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I'd also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Limacudalessa, Catbite, Charleston Hitbill, Dallas Scaries, and John Calisi also. I'd also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.